Drop Some Knowledge podcast is back. And James, right off the bat, I want to ask you something. What does X, a basketball hoop, and a kids show with a character called Ben have in common?
I don't know. What?
10, sir. 10. Basketball hoop, 10 feet high. X, Roman numeral for 10, and Ben 10. We're at 10 episodes. We've cracked the double digits. What an intro.
Really?
Take it away. I need to have a breather right now because I'm all over the place.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so good. Jeez, I feel like we've been doing this for a long time. We realize how long we've been in lockdown for when we've now said that we've gotten to 10 episodes.
Yeah,
like, that's
double
huge.
digits. And we're going to be in double digits until 100 now, James. Think about that.
Man, that's huge. That's huge. What should we do for our 100th? I want people's opinions on what we should do for our 100th episode. Like,
I'd say a letter from the Queen.
And 100. Well, I think so. Yeah.
She'll be well dead by then, though. You'd think, but maybe not, because I guess if Keith Richards is still alive, anything's possible.
Look, I don't think the Queen's going to die anytime soon, man. I think she's like she'll.
Her skin's definitely on the outside of a cyborg, that's for sure.
There's somebody smaller inside her with like pulleys and wheels that's just making her move.
100%. Yeah, like Ace Ventura in a rhino.
Yes, exactly. Except they've got a bigger fan.
Warm.
Keeping warm. It's kind of hot in these rhinos. But 10's amazing, man. That's so good. Congratulations. Well done.
Oh, thank you, James, and congratulations to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Couldn't have said it better.
What are we talking about, man? What are we doing today?
Well, firstly, I'd just like to quickly say that, ladies and gentlemen, Kylie Minogue is finally coming back home to Australia after 30 years abroad. So I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Why?
It's going to be great.
Why?
Basically, she's been spending a lot of time in Australia, obviously with COVID. She got stuck here, and then she went back home, and she felt like it's the right move at this time. So I think that's just great.
Yeah. I mean, last night we did have a conversation that involved Kylie Minogue in the house, and actually I was suggesting and saying that I get Kylie Minogue and Madonna mixed up all the time.
Okay.
Which I understand if you're, say, 30 years old or over. I can get why you'd think I'm a complete idiot, and I am. But like, I just don't know any songs by them, and it's not my type of music. And they're in my head. They get all twisted up, you know.
Which is fair enough, and I thoroughly believe in the acceptance is the first step. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you there, Josh.
Well, look, I don't think people came here for a therapy session, mate. So I think it's time to drop some knowledge, sir.
All right. Well, are you ready for this?
Well,
because did you know that you should beware Greeks bearing gifts?
Oh, no. I knew we'd come around to the homeland. Yeah, right.
That's right. We are talking ancient Greece, my friend. This is going to be a great one. Because I'm going to talk about stuff that not everybody will know. Like, there are little things here that people might have some sort of knowledge about, but there's some interesting things. Everybody knows that, the Greeks invented democracy, and, the word for, the marathon came around from the Greeks. These sorts of things, like stuff like that. People know that already.
Okay.
But we're going to jump right into this one. Now, have you heard of the Hippocratic Oath before, Josh?
No, I have not. No.
So the Hippocratic Oath is to do with, it's an oath that doctors take. It's about, doing no harm. And that was, funnily enough, brought across by a Greek man, the father of medicine, Hippocrates. And
I'm sure he was well liked in his social circles.
Look, you're a lovely guy, absolutely fantastic guy.
That's your last name, isn't it, by the way?
That's close enough.
It's close enough.
It's not. But it's close enough.
It's close enough.
It's closer to actually my father's first name, but that is
true. No, that is true.
That is true. But Hippocrates was one of those guys, like I said, the father of medicine, who brought across a lot of different ways of thinking about how to diagnose patients.
Okay.
Now, things like, the skin's changing color, maybe they're dehydrated, or maybe they're tired, or they're sick, so they're going very pale, things like that. But it's the little things like tasting your earwax,
Oh God.
or moving your fingers through your bodily fluids, or
Oh,
smelling
what?
bodily fluids
Ew,
in
gross. What?
order to diagnose you.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, look,
Yeah.
I know we have the advantage of hindsight here, but it's like, I can't believe that was the go-to. I guess it's like,
That was a
and with
thing.
the earwax thing, James, I was going to say, like,
Yeah.
are you trying to tell me that Harry Potter didn't do tasting earwax first with the earwax jelly beans and things like that?
Well, I mean, there has to be some sort of truth to the tale, surely.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, every time I'm thinking of earwax, though, I think of Shrek, how he makes his
Oh, yeah,
candles and
absolutely.
pulls the earwax out. Oh,
You don't do
horrible.
that?
I haven't done lately, I have to admit.
I
But
guess, yeah, you're right. I'll send you
but
over a
no,
candle
so
soon.
please do, please do. I do like the family made, the family
Mm.
friendly sort of styles of candles.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Um,
get a vanilla version down, but I don't know. It's taking a while to process in between my ears.
um,
Okay, please go on. I don't want to talk about this
no,
anymore.
no, 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 no. I'm basically gonna go quickly onto this. Is like, so basically it was the taste. So whether it was tangy, or whether it was
Oh,
lighter, or that sort of stuff, was they tell you certain things.
oh
Um,
no.
yeah, I'll continue on, but we're gonna go to a another bodily fluid, if that's okay.
Okay.
Did you know that the athletes used to sell their sweat?
Sounds like something Belle Delphine will do.
But bath water and sweat is
Oh,
basically what you're
sweat is
getting
so
from there.
much worse. Like
It is.
I,
It
I have
is.
I have such a fear of sweat, and I remember back in year 10, we made a
Mm,
basketball team with one of the teachers.
yeah.
And because he loved basketball and he wanted to just basically teach all of us how to play basketball. So
Yeah.
we played in this like social league. And I remember we used to train at lunchtime at school, and
Yep.
he sweat quite profusely. And I remember I was playing down
God.
low because I was fairly tall back then. And
Mm.
he's run into me once, and I was ready to like take the contact, and sweat sort of went up into my face because his
Oh.
shoulders were so sweaty and
Oh.
everything. And it's just like you felt this slap,
Oh.
and it's just like a spray.
Oh.
It was, and
Yeah.
I think that's where my fear
No.
of sweat actually comes from. Now I'm telling you the story.
Well, speaking of athletes, this is
Mm,
basically where we get it from. So, you may or may not know that the Greek wrestlers, Roman wrestlers, the Greco-Roman,
mm.
would actually perform naked, and a lot of the Olympics were performed naked,
I
and
do know the Olympics were performed
they were
naked, which
100%, and yeah, and 100%
mm,
men at the time.
yeah,
It wasn't until very, very late that women were involved in the Olympics.
okay,
Um, but what the athletes would do and the wrestlers would do is they would cover themselves in essential oils and things like that, and balms to, one, make it harder for the other athlete to grapple,
yes,
and two, it's actually to warm up the muscles, and like you do with like a tiger balm and a deep heat and that sort of
deep
stuff,
heat,
is like to
yeah, oh,
help
deep
with.
heat on the scrotum, yeah, that's
Oh,
that was
jeez.
fun to play in the change rooms of the footy club. I mean, I
No.
never did that. I never did that. I never did that. I never did that.
Oh no. But
Yeah.
that smell is
I don't
just
mind the smell of deep
embedded.
heat. I,
But it's
yeah,
embedded. It's one that
it
never goes
is.
away. It's one that
No,
you
you're right.
know. But what they would do is they would lather themselves up, go and do the activity, and then
Mm.
come back, and they would scrape it off them, and they would have specific
Okay.
scrapers to actually scrape it off. And
Oh
they would
no.
actually sometimes hire people to scrape it off and put it
Mm.
into jars or vials. And then what they would do is usually a group of slaves that would do it. So they would literally stand there and, and start
Oh
scraping
God.
top to bottom. Now,
Hmm.
what they would then do is the scrapings would then be sold as either medicine
Oh my
or
God.
perfume.
No. A
And people would
perfume.
rub and perfume. So it would actually
Oh.
be used in perfumes. And they would then, you know, rub the sweat of the athletes on their skin. And they believed that it would calm their aches and pains,
Oh,
or at
yuck.
the very least, they would get to smell like an Olympian.
This is gross, James. I actually I hate this so much. Like that is so gross. Interesting little fact. It's interesting that it does seem to be you only put vile things in a vial. But
Yeah.
the other thing,
Yeah.
I don't like the word scrape. You know how like most people don't like moist? Yeah. So
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, and I've only really just
Scrape.
noticed that now. Every time you're saying scrape, I just I don't like it.
Did you fall over a lot as a kid, Josh? Like when you were riding your
Probably.
bike or something like that? So when the school nurse would say, "Oh, it's okay. Like ring your parents and say, oh, Josh just scraped his knee,"
don't
and
say
it's
it.
just like it gets that itchy feeling.
Because I can just imagine the like people scraping down your arms and getting all this stuff off your body. Like I don't, yuck.
So it wasn't the best of things.
No.
So
People were so stupid back then.
I know.
Idiots.
And speaking of stupidity, are you ready for this one?
Oh, I guess.
Okay. So did you know?
Sorry, I'll sound more motivated.
Yeah, no, that's all right. No, you ready? Are you ready? Come on, let's go.
Yeah. I'm ready.
Episode 10. Come on.
I'm currently air punching.
He starts air punching.
You got any steps around here I can run up?
Yeah, maybe actually.
You are in an apartment building. Anyway, what's the fact? Sneezing. Oh.
Sneezing was considered by one physician in particular, who was actually a pretty big guy in the field. No. Soranus was his name. And I laugh every time I read it because it quite literally, if you say it phonetically, it's Soranus.
Classic.
But sneezing was a form of birth control.
What?
Now, we've all seen the after-school specials, and we've all seen that sort of thing. And there's always been, like, in the old 80s, like, you know, kids, like old 80s kids shows, old teen movies and stuff. It was always, it's the woman that has to, you know, provide the protection, and they're the ones that are responsible for the protection and all this sort of stuff of using contraceptives. Which is not the case these days.
No, definitely not.
But surprisingly, it wasn't the man's fault in this age, you know, that, you know, babies were coming about.
Simpler times.
Simpler times. So Soranus, I believe it's pronounced Soranus, but Soranus would tell women they could just sneeze. And all they would need to do is pop a squat. Sneeze, rinse.
You know what repeat. Though? Like this is fairly graphic to talk about, so hopefully everyone can picture this in their own minds. But I kind of understand. Yeah, I kind of see the, like, you know, when you sneeze, everything contracts, and like you've ever sneezed before and you've let a little like out, and you're just like, oh yeah. So I get just the vision in my brain isn't great, James. Like I'm not sleeping tonight.
No, but here's another one.
How proud are you to be Greek right now?
Very. Yeah. Very.
Like, that's why you were squatting when I walked into your house a few days ago in the middle of the kitchen floor. Yes.
It was
good. Tiles are way easier. Yeah.
The cleanup is easy.
Yeah, way easier.
But obviously this didn't work. Kids were popping up everywhere.
I would say so.
But Soranus, he actually had a few backup ideas, which was great.
Thank God.
It was more for men, and it was a bit more men and women based. But he also suggested, a bit more forward for his time. But he also suggested rubbing. He also suggested rubbing honey or cedar resin on your genitals before making love.
That is not okay. That's not okay.
But it also worked. No, but it worked more because it would probably just discourage people from having sex in the first place.
Okay. So was this a form of contraception?
This was a form of contraception.
people like honey though, and I've heard that some people might use honey in the bedroom,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but I guess for the practicality of the situation, not his best. But look, the guy's track record clearly isn't great. So
No.
yeah, okay.
But look, this might hinder some people's possibilities of lovemaking. But ladies, to be honest, we're pretty sensitive people. Like, the male form, we're a pretty sensitive group. So if you want a very successful use of contraception, just point and laugh.
Yeah. Yes. Or just be like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, oh. And then when they go, what is it? It's like, no, nothing.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
That'll work.
we're hindering ourselves here, boys, but that's okay.
Yep, no, it's fine.
So there you go. Sneezing, form of contraception.
Okay.
Which is an interesting one. Now, we're going to delve in a bit deeper here. This is one that I found not that long ago and thought it was very interesting, especially with, just the backstory of what people know of ancient Greece. But have you heard of a city called Thebes before, Josh?
No, never.
So Thebes, I believe it's about northeast of Athens.
Is that the band Nothing But Thebes? Got him.
If there isn't one, there is now.
There is now. We'll make a cover band. We can start playing at the pub.
Yes, when it opens.
Yeah, if it opens, James, don't jinx anything.
No. Very true. Very true.
Melbourne life.
But Thebes were quite a different group, or quite a different city-state, because Greece was made up of city-states rather than main towns and things like that. So in the 4th century BC, so we're looking at about 300, 400 BC, there was an army which was about 300 paired men, 300 paired men called the Sacred Band of Thebes.
Okay.
They were all gay men.
Ah, okay.
300 paired men, so 150 pairs were all gay lovers. And
these people were going into battle and things like that.
They were going into battle. They were actually the vanguard, I think is the word, the forward group that would go in first. And they were said to be the most ruthless of fighters. Now, the idea was that the soldiers would fight twice as hard for their lovers to, 1, show that they cared for them, 2, to, make them look more macho against other men, and 3, if their partner was killed in battle, they would fight twice, 3 times, 5 times harder as revenge for those that killed them.
I think that's true. Actually, that would work. I feel like, which is actually kind of a very smart tactic. Not good. That's probably also a way they were like, I'm assuming they weren't very accepting of gay people back then, and probably wanted to sort of off them. But I also understand, like, obviously fighting for your partner with your partner alongside. And if they did die, you would fight even harder. I can see that, but I'm not sure. That sounds like a very good bit of marketing for a much more darker reasoning for putting them into that situation.
Yeah. But it's funny you should say that. It's not because of acceptance. Acceptance was actually quite a common thing. Now, unfortunately, the common side of it was more older men to younger boys. Okay. That you'll find a lot in that sort of storyline when you go and delve a little bit deeper. Yeah. And it does get a little bit dark in that sense, but it was a little bit more, and the same in ancient Rome as well. You'll actually find that there is a lot more of that sort of male love, and the acceptance was kind of like, it's a thing. Okay. And they kind of throw it aside. But yeah, it was definitely something that I thought was really interesting and something a bit more forward.
Well, I wouldn't have thought they would be, so accepting that early on.
So accepting, yeah.
Okay.
And here's another thing. You've heard of the 300 Spartans, yeah? You've heard of the
Yes, yes,
story of
yes.
how the Spartans are an incredibly strong
Mm.
group of
Yeah,
soldiers.
kicking people into holes in the ground and stuff. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Well, there was a battle between Thebes and Sparta, and they actually beat them.
Oh,
Um, and yeah, so
they didn't
something a
put
little bit
that
different
in the
there.
movie.
No, they did not. No, they did not, because at that point, the majority of Greece had kind of come together, but
Okay.
against a common enemy. And going on along a little bit more with the acceptance of gay, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, paired lovers, gay lovers. Is
Yeah.
There's an old joke where it basically is Greeks invented sex, but Italians invented sex with women.
I thought the French would be involved with that, but I guess it's just
Look,
the language of love. Oh, croissants.
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
sucre
very
bleu.
good, very nice.
We did an episode about no, that was a baguette.
We
Sorry,
did.
that
That
was a
was a
baguette.
baguette.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. So there's an interesting little tidbit for you. Is
Okay.
yeah, the soldiers of Thebes, the sacred band of Thebes.
Oh.
So I thought that was quite interesting. Now we're going really dark.
Oh no.
All right, we're going really dark.
Oh no, but oh yes.
Oh yes. Have you ever heard of the Brazen Bull, or it may have been called the Bronze Bull, or the Bull of Phalaris?
I don't think so. I know there's a bronze bull on in New York outside like the Trump Towers and things like that, but I don't know if that's got anything to do with it.
Well, this might give you a different meaning to this one. It's
right.
possible.
The grin on your face is sending shivers down my spine.
Look, you know me well enough. I like these sorts of little bits of knowledge, but
hit me.
The Brazen Bull, or the Bull of Phalaris, was allegedly a torture and execution device in ancient Greece.
Okay.
And it was invented by Paleus of Athens.
So was it an actual bull or like?
No. So it was a mold of a hollow mold made of bronze of a bull.
Oh, I do know. Oh, I do know this. I know what you're gonna say. Oh my god. Right. Oh my god.
Your
Sorry,
face
continue.
No. That
Say
face
it for the audio
fantastic.
listeners. Oh no.
So sorry, I'm watching your face. It's brilliant.
No, I know.
This casing was hollow with a trap door on its side that could be locked. Now, what they would do is they would put prisoners or criminals inside the bull.
Yeah.
And inside the bull were, it was completely sealed other than two holes close to its nose on the front of the bull. They would then light a fire underneath the bull.
Yeah.
And they would effectively cook the condemned inside the bull.
Yes. No, I have seen this before.
Roasted to death.
That is horrifying, like absolutely horrifying. I watched like a ancient torture devices video on YouTube, and I honestly couldn't watch the rest of it. It was horrifying, some of the things.
Brutal.
And that bull was on there. I couldn't remember the name of it. Yeah, that is so bad. And like the other one I saw, which made me turn the video off, was the one where they've got the spike in the ground and they'd like make you sit on it, but like pull you over the top of it, so it'd slowly go in your butt and like through your organs and come out your mouth. And then you'd walk through like a forest. I don't remember what it was called, but like then they'd do that out in the fields surrounding their village or whatever. So when enemies came through, they'd see all these people impaled on spikes and would warn them off.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot. I apologize for anyone who just heard me say that.
That's all right. If you do want to see the actual the bull, it's actually in the movie Immortals with Henry Cavill. He plays Theseus.
Okay.
So it is actually in that film for only a short period of time. It doesn't get too crazy, so don't worry. But it's it does show the damage that can be done, I must admit.
Well, my gold Trump bull had nothing to do with that. Or did it? Maybe there's some sketchy stuff going on. Is in the middle of the street. So, look, but it is Trump, and we don't like that guy very much.
No. Interesting fella. So we're going to lighten things up before we finish off tonight, which is going to be great. But did you know, Josh, and I kind of like this, I think this is a really cool one to kind of end on. Okay. But did you know that they invented the yo-yo?
Oh, the yo-yo.
Now, there is a bit of, like, I did a little bit of research on this one, and there's a little bit of contention whether it was they found more, old pieces of, these original yo-yos in Greece or in ancient China.
Oh, we can't give it to the Chinese, James.
We can't give it to them. It has to
no,
be the Greeks.
It has to be Greeks. It has to be the Greeks.
Surely. The Chinese have got gunpowder. Like, they can have that. Like, and they've got
that. You've got a big wall. You've got there's heaps of dumplings, that sort of
Mulan.
Stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
there's heaps. The Greeks have, souvlakis, I guess. That's probably it.
Well, you like pasticcio, didn't you?
I did like pasticcio, actually. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Baklava.
Yeah. Yep, there you go.
There you go.
Another one of contention, but that's okay. We'll give it.
I went to Greek Christmas and Greekster as well, and we smashed eggs that were red.
You did.
Okay.
Yes. Well done.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very proud of you, actually. Well done for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was a whole thing about who invented the yo-yo. So it was a bit of contention, but we'll give it to us. But it's considered the second oldest toy in the world after the doll.
Okay, I was going to say, I wonder what it could be, but that makes sense. Dolls are fairly standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, a yo-yo is interesting because I guess you'd have to apply physics and things like that to it. So, okay. The Greeks did some stuff.
Interesting.
And that is such a nice way to end after the shock and horror of my face before. And I guess this week we're going to have to screenshot photos of my face when you were telling me
I think we might have to,
and post them on our Instagram at
Before we completely go, I've got one little tidbit left.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've heard of Achilles?
I have.
Right, you've heard of Achilles and the Trojan horse and the Trojan War and all this sort of stuff. Now, and you know about there was actually so you've heard of Achilles. There was actually another soldier. Basically, they stated that he was a little bit more, just as powerful as Achilles, and just as strong and almost immortal. Named Bophades. Now, Bophades. Now, Bophades
nuts.
He had. Well, there goes my joke, you jerk.
I'm on fire.
You ruined it.
Sorry. Was that actually going to be what you were going to say? I'm so sorry.
I was going to say you've heard of Achilles' heel. Well, this is Bophades' nuts, and I was like,
what a fantastic end to the Drop Some Knowledge podcast. This could the 10th episode could not have ended in a better way.
Not have ended any better.
Me
ruining my
being
joke.
On top of James in every single way in life. So I'm so glad you decided to end with that.
God damn it.
Okay. So what have I learned, James? I've learned that
what
the
have
Greeks,
you learned today?
I've learned that the Greeks used to, I don't want to use the word, scrape essential oils and sweat off their body and would sell it. Yuck, gross. I've learned that they would cook people inside of animals, brass animals, bronze animals, whatever it was. Very similar to Ace Ventura, actually, because he was quite hot inside of that rhino. So I know where they got the inspiration for that scene from. And I've learned that I'm way funnier than James and 2 steps ahead of him at all times. So
damn it.
Damn it. Dag nabbit.
I'm actually really unhappy.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But I'm laughing it off.
Shrug it off, James. There's always next week, mate.
Sorry, next week.
There's always next week. When I post this clip to our Instagram, please everyone comment and say they love Josh better than JP. And yeah, thanks for tuning in to 10 episodes, guys. I think we're pretty happy with the progress so far. And yeah, I posted a story today on our Instagram actually about the different areas of the world that are listening to our podcast. So check that out. Remember, what are we on, James? I can't remember. Spotify, that's the one. I should probably know that.
We're on Spotify.
Yeah,
we're on Apple. We're on
YouTube.
All the things. YouTube.
Yeah. And then a bunch of others no one really listens to.
We're on TikTok,
Instagram, Facebook, so your mum can follow us too.
Exactly.
Yeah, all the places. Wow. So thanks for all the love over the 10 episodes, guys. I think honestly, like if we're gonna get a little bit humble for a second, I think it's actually gone a lot better than I thought it would. I didn't think anyone would be listening, and we've got consistent sort of listens so far, which is really nice.
We do,
and we're only getting better from here. Tell your friends, tell your dogs, tell your two nuts, whatever the joke was before. I don't know.
Tell both of these.
Tell both of these. And yeah, we'll see you next week on another thrilling, enthralling, deep, viscous episode of the Drop Some Words podcast.
Bye for now, not forever.
Yeah. So what's the other thing people say? They go, it's not a goodbye. It's just a see you later.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Okay. Yeah, cool. All right. I don't want to talk anymore. Goodbye, James.
Ciao. See you.
See you. Bye.